Something is not clicking right now in Philadelphia, and it has caused two straight losses for a team that is coming off of a Super Bowl win and four straight wins to open up the season. While the defense has definitely not played up to their standard this year, most of the talk is surrounding their offense and the struggles they have had this year. The Philadelphia Eagles returned most of their unit from the 2024 season, with only the major change coming at the offensive coordinator position between Kellen Moore, who's now the Saints head coach, and Kevin Patullo stepping in as their offensive coordinator. Jalen Hurts has not looked the same. A.J. Brown is frustrated, and Saquon Barkley has yet to get going like we saw during his 2024 monster season. I want to do a deep dive here on Blitz Sports Media, breaking down what is going on with this Philadelphia Eagles offense and how they can improve throughout the course of the 2025 season. You're going to watch on this play right here, a very good run by Saquon Barkley, taking advantage of his ability to read a defense well and make a very good cut. You look on this play, as we roll it back right here, you're going to get pulling action. You're going to get Cam Jurgens in space right here, and Dexter Lawrence has already reached the left guard here at this point. I know Landon Dickerson being out was definitely a big-time loss for this offense, but they have struggled even with Dickerson in there. What this does is Saquon Barkley's read is right here, but if Barkley sees a good cutback lane, which he does so well, he is able to take advantage of it. And the Eagles just haven't found situations to get him in here and make cuts in space, and this is why Saquon has a big-time game. We'll take a look at a few bad plays real quick where Saquon has struggled. Same type of play right here. He's just not going to have a pulling blocker, and Saquon is not going to be able to make a move where he can make a positive cut. And yes, I agree, the Eagles offensive line has not been playing as good as they have been the entire year, but you're getting an inside zone concept right here. You have doubles here, you have here. Everybody is working this way, right? And Saquon Barkley's goal is to try to figure out how to work towards this either here or hit the cutback lane right here. And then Dexter Lawrence, what he does so well is he is able to read this, get inside, and make Saquon Barkley bounce outside. Now, what is the problem with this is you have two guys stacked up in here. You have no defenders that are moving within space because nobody's pulling. And Saquon Barkley is going to have to settle with going outside and going right into a tackler. Not much creativity in the Eagles' ground game. You're going to see a man concept where the offensive line blocks here. Saquon gets the ball opposite side and just has nowhere to go besides into Sexy Dexy on this play. Basically, what you're going to see is you're going to see every lineman try to go this way, and then Saquon's read is here, and then he's going to try and find the holes, right, depending on where something is opening up. So you kind of take a look at this. You see Sexy Dexy gets blocked there. He is going to be able to come back and make a play right there. But ultimately, like, what's going on with this Eagles ground game is it's just not very creative, right? You're asking Saquon, who's best at making the cut and reading a defense, you're asking him on just a simple man concept and concepts like this without pulling blockers in space to Saquon, find a way to make a cut in this situation, and it's just not working out right now. And then the Eagles' ground game is not very creative. Here's an example from last year's game against the Green Bay Packers on opening night, and it kind of goes to show you get motion to start the play. Linebackers have to talk. You get Saquon Barkley, who is able to make a big-time cut and hit the hold exactly like you want him to on this play. And no, you're not getting a pulling guard in this situation, but you're getting a split concept over here where the linebackers are going to have to view that. It's going to slow them down. And then you get inside zone play side where Saquon Barkley can make a move, and then which he does, he finds the right hole. His offensive line opens that up for him, and he gets a big-time 10-plus yard gain. I want to see the Philadelphia Eagles run game have more split concepts. You get a guy going this way. You have motion pre-snap, or you have pulling guards that Saquon can manipulate a defense with his eyes and make the right cut when necessary. The next thing is the passing game, and the passing game has been abysmal to start this year with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith not getting involved and utilized as much as they should. Basically, what they are doing is they are throwing them on routes all outside the numbers, whether that is a hitch route right here, whether that is a go route, or they're running a 5-yard out route. That is basically the route tree you see from an outside receiver in Philadelphia versus every other NFL receiver that can go inside, cut up the middle, run a dig route. Everything is open for them, but for some reason in Philadelphia this year, they are limiting two of the best receivers in football to a limited route tree, and you're going to see a third down play. Jalen Hurts' first read is not there, has to check down to Saquon Barkley and gets absolutely nothing with that. We'll look at the concept here in general and what Jalen Hurts' read is in this situation. As you guys can see here, looks like, yeah, they got a cover 6 type of motion here. You got two deep corners right here, a safety back here, and then you have a flat responsibility defender over here backside. And what Jalen Hurts is reading, let me go back just a little bit right here. Hurts is looking at Devonta Smith right here, and he realizes that that hitch route, like we talked about, is going to be covered in this concept. His next route is a hitch on the backside. Surprise, surprise. None other than me is not surprised. And then you're going to get a kind of deep corner route over here, and then you get Dallas Goedert working in this one, and he is not really part of the read and progression. The final part of it is a dump down to Saquon Barkley, and while Saquon can make guys miss, relying on this every single time you pass the football is not a good recipe for success, and this is why they keep getting into situations where they go 3 and out the most often in the NFL, is because they don't have a very, I don't know how to describe it best. The best way to describe it is it's just not a very advanced passing game. It doesn't make defenses have to think that much. The concepts aren't overly hard, and if you can maintain your responsibilities, you force a dump down like this, and then the Eagles are off the field and you get the ball back. The next thing is the sacks, and while the sacks can be attributed to offensive line play a lot of the times, it is also on the quarterbacks and the concepts that are being called by the offensive coach. And on this play, it is a combination of those and not necessarily the offensive line. Jalen Hurts holds onto the ball more than any quarterback in the NFL. And yes, he's had an elite offensive line to support that, but this year it is not working out as well when you don't have elite concepts down the field. Once again, you're going to get a hitch route, and you're going to get another hitch route from your two best receivers, who are probably two of the best 20 receivers in the NFL, and they are not finding ways to scheme them open. Jalen Hurts is going to have to clutch this ball and has nothing to do because he holds onto the ball and can't get past a first read that is not very creative and open. Brian Burns gets himself another sack. One of the concepts I really liked in this one was you had a little bit of pre-snap motion from here from Devonta Smith, and they were able to push the ball down the field to Dallas Goedert over the middle of the field. Let me play this one out for you guys, but this is something that we have not seen over the course of the season, is this type of concept here, and you have your receivers working. Obviously, Jalen Hurts is holding on to the ball, but he does find Dallas Goedert down the field on a deep dig. You get A.J. Brown, who is finally working over the middle of the field. You get Devonta Smith on a wheel route off your screen, and those are his first two primary reads, and then you kind of have a guy here, and then got it right there. This is a legit NFL route concept that gives defenses something really hard to think about, especially in zone coverage. When you're passing so many guys off, somebody is going to open up, and when it is cover 3 just like this, that is when you can take advantage of it, and getting those deep in-cutting routes and routes over the middle of the field opens things up. It's a crazy concept. The final thing I want to see from Philadelphia is, in order to get this passing game going, I do think they need to go back to the RPOs like Lane Johnson mentioned. You kind of watch on this play here how successful it is, and when you get a guy like A.J. Brown over the course of the middle of the field, he can take advantage and bully players in the secondary. And you look how easy this was and how hard it is for a linebacker like Bobby Wagner, who is an all-pro type player still at the twilight part of his career. And basically what an RPO does is it forces these linebackers in this area to hold their ground and play the run first. You have a split concept here by Dallas Goedert, and what that can do is it allows the receiver to open up here. As you guys can see, let me clear this out of your way. Jalen Hurts' eyes right here are reading the linebacker Bobby Wagner and what he's going to do, and obviously they can even run a read option off of this where Hurts carries the ball, but Hurts is trying to see what that linebacker does and can throw right behind him, and it's really hard for a defense to defend this perfectly. Hurts does a great job of getting the ball out in a big-time chunk play for the Eagles over the middle of the field. If they can find a way to bring these RPO concepts back, it is going to make them a lot less predictable on the offensive side of the ball. All in all, you saw some clear differences between the 2024 team and the 2025 team. The utilization of the middle of the field is a key one for me. Let me pull this up for you. This is Jalen Hurts' throwing chart from week 6 against the New York Giants. You can tell there's one part of the field that has been completely not utilized throughout the entire season. It is the middle of the field. One of those completions, as you can see, was 20 plus yards down the field to Dallas Goedert. And besides that, not much going around the middle of the field around the hashes for Jalen Hurts. Everything is outside of the numbers, and it did include more deep passes from him, but it has been a very pedestrian A-dot chart with Jalen Hurts not testing defenses down the field. Like I mentioned with the film breakdown, I do think this team needs to get back to playing within what their strengths are, and that is utilizing their superstar in the backfield in Saquon Barkley, utilizing pulling blockers in front of him, and then running RPOs throughout the middle of the field behind them with their big time receiver in AJ Brown, who is one of the toughest receivers in the NFL to bring down. This sort of combination keeps defenses on their toes and makes them very unpredictable for opposing defenses instead of what they're getting at right now. Sure, they might not reach the levels that they did on the offensive side of things during the 2024 season. They were historic on both sides of the ball, but they don't have to be historic to be good during this season. It feels like right now there are no elite teams right now in the NFL. So the Philadelphia Eagles, if they can start getting some momentum on the offensive side of the ball, they still have Vic Fangio and an incredibly talented defense to make a run at another Super Bowl this year. But the simplicity of making these changes isn't always as easy as it sounds. It is up to offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo to make these simple changes and implement them throughout their weekly game plan. We will see what happens with this Eagles team, and Patullo's job could be in question if there are not major changes on the offensive side of the ball. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below what this Philadelphia Eagles team should do to change their offensive struggles. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you guys next time on Blitz Sports Media.